Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello and welcome to Footy Judgmo. Happy New Year. 8 in the morning for me here. Sorry I'm late. We just had a rough night, of course.
Rod.
But we're here. We're going to talk about Arsenal, of course. We're going to talk about Man City. We'll talk about Liverpool. Is it a two-horse race? Are Arsenal in a top four race? Not in a title race. Believe that or not. Can they be fifth? Can Spurs finish above them? A transfer window is open today. The first one is Donny van de Beek, just left Man United, of course. And we're here to talk about everything the Premier League people. This is the first show of a new year, 2024. And believe it or not, there are only two people I want to be here with today in the show. It's Tom and Nobbins, of course. Happy New Year, guys, and hope you had a good night. Hope everything is good.
Absolutely. There's only two people who I'd rather be with as well. Sadly, they weren't available, so I've had to settle for you guys.
I think we're all right.
Thanks, Nobbins, mate.
It's all
I'm only
right.
joking, obviously. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Of course,
all
you're doing
good.
great.
Oh, good. No complaints.
Yes, people in the chat. Over 100 people, right? We just started 1 minute in, so you have to hit that like button. It's a new year. And thanks for everybody that supported me in this channel over the past 3 months. When I started this channel, 8,500 people, 8,500 subscribers. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for all the content creators that helped me. And Happy New Year to everyone. May this year be the best year yet. Brings you all the happiness, joy, success to you and all your loved ones, people. And there's only one place to start, and it's Tom. Talk to us about Arsenal. What happened to Arsenal?
His little face.
It's just, I remember saying that I didn't think they were all the same issues. I've been saying it on a number of these, on a number of these shows, and I've been called every name under the sun. I've been told that we're going to hold that. I've been told that we're going to get better. I've been told that we're unsustainable. And it's currently 2:13 on January 1st, 2024. And Liverpool are top the league. And Arsenal are fourth. Despite a mere 7 days ago, Arsenal being top of the league. In the space of 7 days, Arsenal have went from first to fourth. Brilliant. I've never seen anything like it. The issues that this Arsenal squad had, and I've been saying, have just come out. They've come out the woodwork. Everything has to go through the wingers. The strikers don't have any threat. Shock. You're not going to win a title with a striker who was the second choice for a team that didn't have a striker. He can't be your leading man. Midfield-wise, Kai Havertz, he was scoring goals, 60 million down the drain. Guess what? He ruins half your build-up because he doesn't do anything else. Your defence, fullback-wise, genuinely might be the worst set of fullbacks in the league at points. Like, you don't have a left-back. Zinchenko's crap. Tomiyasu's a struggle. Like, he's all right. He's not the best. Who else is there? Right-back-wise, Ben White. Goalkeeper-wise, David Raya and Aaron Ramsdale. Honest to God. It's like Dumb and Dumber. But I was told that our lot are unsustainable. They've got a better defence than us, despite the fact we conceded 4 less goals than them. They've got a better attack than us, despite the fact that Mo Salah and Diogo Jota alone have more goals than their entire attack combined. What else were they telling me? Their midfield is better. Bar Declan Rice, who I don't even think had a very good game. I'm not really seeing that. The best thing your midfield have done was play a little bit of basketball at Anfield, which, is the only reason you're not fifth right now. So you should be thankful for the PGMOL that Ange Postecoglou, who's got to play Emerson Royale and Ben Davies at centre-back, isn't above you right now. Do you understand how bad of a look that would be on Mikel Arteta, spending £200 million in the summer to be behind a team that has Emerson Royale and Ben Davies at centre-back?
But they aren't behind them.
No, but they are very lucky to not be. If the handball decision against Liverpool was correctly given, they would have lost that game and they would be behind. Oh, sorry, they'd be level on points with them. Because we drew that game, didn't we? Look, I just look at Arsenal and I go, the manager's not great. The squad, it's got some decent players, but it's not got mentality.
What do you mean the manager isn't great? Stop. What does that mean?
He's just throwing everything out the wall now, Tom. He's popping off.
Oh, Tom.
I mean,
What do you mean the manager isn't great?
I don't think he's one of the best managers in the league.
Of course he isn't, because he hasn't won the league.
So then he isn't great.
He hasn't.
You need a great manager.
But you need a great manager, but there's only who can win them the league then?
No one.
Like no one, exactly. So what's the solution? So they just put their head in the under the pillow and just cry? Is that what you're asking Arsenal fans to do?
If you were to,
there's only two managers, which is Klopp and Pep Guardiola in the league that won the league at the moment, and that's it. So they okay. Do you believe okay? So hear me out. Do you believe they have the second best?
The second best manager in the league? No,
not the second best. That's the second best thing. Like, okay, the best thing is Pep Guardiola and Klopp. Do you believe that? Or do you believe there's a manager in the Premier League currently that will do a better job than Arteta with Arsenal?
I just think off the top of my head. Honestly, maybe not in the Prem. The only contender in the Prem is Postecoglou, but that doesn't mean that there aren't managers in the world who. I mean, I just think that Arsenal missed a trick just letting Nagelsmann go to Germany. If you wanted the manager, that's who you get in. You go get Nagelsmann. He's better than Arteta. He's won stuff. And the part that's getting me about all this Arteta stuff is we're now seeing all these Arsenal fans crying about, well, he's not had enough money to spend. He's still a rookie manager. He's been in this league for 4 years. He's been at the top for 4 years. How long does he get to hold this rookie tag for? Is it just while he remains at Arsenal? Is he still this rookie manager who we've all got to give a fair bit of time and a little bit of leeway to? Because I'm sorry, he's a little bit of bollocks at this point.
But your experienced manager took him 3 years just to reach a Champions League final, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to win a league, it took him 5 years, actually. You won it 2020. He was hard in 2015. So 5 years until he won the league title.
Yeah.
And your manager is coming from Dortmund with back-to-back leagues and a Champions League final. That was his 4th job, if I'm not mistaken. And he was coaching from 2002. So there's a massive difference.
Let's not act like Mikel. Let's not again. No, this is the part. Why do we just act like Mikel Arteta wasn't the assistant manager to Pep Guardiola for 2.5 years?
Being an assistant manager, Tom, is different than actually managing the team and have all the responsibility.
But it is still valuable experience. It is still valuable
experience for 2.5 years. Yes. Like everybody else that went and assisted Bielsa, like everyone else that went and sat next to Ancelotti, like everyone that sat next to Arrigo Sacchi back in the days.
Yes, it's valuable experience, which I just feel like Arsenal fans often brush under the carpet.
But you aren't a manager.
Do you not think that Arteta can win the league, Tom, if given the right tools?
I don't think while Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola are here, unless both our squads were to have massive off seasons, Mikel Arteta's not beating either of them in a title race.
All right.
Even if he'd have to wait until they go.
Better tools at his disposal.
But we've been told that Arsenal had the best tools at their disposal this year. We got told they had the best centre back pairing. They got the best wingers.
But those people were silly in saying that. They obviously weren't correct.
I just don't see how Arsenal get that ahead of Man City and Liverpool.
Okay, so can I show?
Especially Man City. They might get it ahead of us because our transfer strategy at times is a bit mind blowing, but certainly not City.
Okay, I am with Tom. Like I am actually not with Tom. I actually believe that Arteta showed last year that he can build a system that might win the league. Is it a better probability? And I'm gonna get this. Is it a better probability than Klopp and Pep? No, right? But not a lot of coaches in the world will come into your club and will have will give you a better percentage than Pep and Klopp. Like even when City were behind, when people asked me, I said, still City have a higher percentage of winning the league than Arsenal. The thing about it is that this comment, Mo, don't defend Arteta. Arsenal isn't a platform to gain experience. Now, the problem is Arsenal fans, and this is not me shitting on you because I've been there and I told Stavi that Inter have been there. Inter, we had 10 years of not winning the league after a treble, right? We had 7 of them when we didn't play Champions League final, when we didn't play Champions League football at all. The thing about this Arsenal that they aren't like a guinea pig, right? They aren't a guinea pig. But however, let me ask you a simple question, and both of you, 4 years when Arteta was hired, would Jurgen Klopp go and manage Arsenal at that time? Would a top manager leave their club to go manage Arsenal at that time when the club was in shambles, when the club had all the problems in the world, we had players that they didn't want to be there. You remember 4 years ago they didn't play Champions League for years. The club was in shambles. Would a top manager go and coach Arsenal at that time? If Pep Guardiola was available, would he have gone and coached Arsenal at that time?
Mo, I understand the point you're making, but Jurgen Klopp, when he joined Liverpool, Liverpool were in the exact same boat. Exact same boat. We had players that we didn't want.
You actually guys didn't know that Jurgen Klopp would turn to be like this. Remember, Jurgen Klopp at the last year of Dortmund was in the relegation battle after midway through the season.
Yes, but again, Mo, that doesn't define a manager. One
It
bad
doesn't.
season.
It doesn't. No.
We had a basis of what Jurgen Klopp was, which was he built up a really bad Borussia Dortmund team that had, squad wasn't great and financial issues to getting to the top level. We knew that was what he could bring. Did we think it would be the points totals that we're getting and the level of quality that we've reached? No. But most Liverpool fans, when he came in, went, we can win a league title with him. I think I remember sitting there with my dad and my granddad, and something that my granddad said. He said, it was in the first couple of months. He said, if Jurgen Klopp doesn't win us a league title, no one can. So there was a belief that Jurgen Klopp was going to win us a league title. The Liverpool squad, the Liverpool situation when Klopp took over is the same as the Arteta one. And you know what? Arteta, you could argue, had a better start because he won the FA Cup. But it's what's happened in the preceding years where it's not been the advancements, it's not been the level of growth in him that I expected in terms of, Jesus Christ. I watched that game yesterday. Marco Silva had Arteta right where he wants them. At no point in that game was Marco Silva struggling. Fulham were playing some lovely stuff, cutting through Arsenal. That shouldn't happen. I had Arsenal fans laughing at me because we conceded 3 to Fulham. You haven't even beat Fulham this year. They almost done a double on you, and you're laughing at me. Like, this is what I don't get. I understand that they want to back him. I understand that where they were to what they are now is a growth. But it simply isn't there. He simply doesn't have the next level.
So you think they should sack him? That's it. Now, if you want to have a chance of winning the league, they should sack him now.
No, because the good manager that they want isn't available right now. You're not going to pull Nagelsmann from Germany now.
All right.
I think if they sack them now, who would they get? That's the part I agree with.
I don't know.
But I personally think they should have sacked them earlier for me.
I personally think we're being very harsh on Arteta here. I don't, bar, big injury or, external issues to, like a Liverpool or City, I don't think that fundamentally Arsenal's squad is strong enough to win the Premier League. And now you can have a conversation about, whether that's Arteta's fault for bringing in certain players which maybe aren't up to standards. But from a
I have it.
But from a coaching perspective and from a tactical perspective, I do think that Arteta he has the potential to win a title. But in my opinion, right, I mean, you outlined earlier, Tom, how you had like issues with this Arsenal squad. And again, it's a very good squad, don't get me wrong. But again, outside of City and Liverpool underperforming in a season, fundamentally, I don't know if the quality is there. For example, Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus, I'm not just picking on them because they're ex-City players. They were good Man City players, but at the end of the day, they weren't starters.
They were expendable. They were expendable for you.
They weren't consistent. And I really liked the signings at the time because at that time, I think most people, myself included, assumed that, I'm referring to last season, the start of last season, most people assumed that Arsenal were going to be trying to get back into the top 4 and, establish themselves as a top 4 team, and then maybe you can have conversations later. Obviously, that didn't happen. So that's why at the time, the signings of Zinchenko and Jesus made sense, because I was like, right, these are players who aren't good enough to, start for a title-winning side, but they are good enough to elevate Arsenal to that consistent top 4 side. But the evolution happened very quickly, and they've went from, in my opinion, the target being what I thought it was going to be, become an established top 4 team, to, oh no, now we're challenging for the title. So I think maybe a step was skipped, and those signings, for example, I don't think that they are good enough to win you a title. Zinchenko was never a starter for City. A consistent starter for City when we won the
Didn't
title.
Delph start ahead of him?
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
You had Delph, and then you had Cancelo at left back ahead
I
of him.
think the most amount of starts, Premier League starts in I think like the number of Premier League starts he had before Arsenal signed him, I think he had 11. So he not even over half. So he a bit part player. Tom said it quite harshly, but he was right. Gabriel Jesus was brought in as a striker, but not once was he ever the main striker for Man City when we won a title. The one season he was our main striker was the 1920 season when Liverpool won the title. So,
was that the year that KDB should have absolutely obliterated the assist record and then didn't because Jesus missed like 17 big chances?
Exactly. So at the time, for me, these were good signings. But now we're having a conversation where Arsenal are title contenders. So I'm going to defend Arteta a bit. I think there are some players which need to be upgraded if you want to challenge with City and Liverpool when they are performing at the levels that we expect them to perform. If City and Liverpool underperform in the season, then it's a different story because anything can happen. We saw Leicester win a Premier League title. But assuming that these players can perform to the level that we know they can do, I think everyone would, every reasonable person would conclude that Arsenal's squad isn't quite the level of City's squad. So there are some areas they need to improve. Timbers coming back, that's a good one. But again, Gabriel Jesus and Nketiah, maybe even Ben White, certainly Riot and Ramsdale. For me, outside of other teams underperforming, you can't win a Premier League title with these players. That's my take.
So let me ask a question. First of all, let me do this one super chat from Andrew Wright. People, over 300 people here, and can we get even to 100 likes, like 150 likes? Over 300 people here, and guys are not liking the video. The like button is underneath your live chat, and the like button is the only way this channel is going to grow. The video is going to be seen by other people. We're going to get more. We're going to get to 400 people watching. The like button is underneath your live chat. I know you're being entertained, but hit that like button because it's important. Andrew Wright is saying, how long do you give him? Inexperienced manager, don't get as long as Arteta. He is, and the money he spent, Tom.
I mean, look, all I'm going to say is, what do Arsenal do if Postecoglou finishes above them this year?
They sack the guy. I don't get that.
Like that, but that's not where, like, is last year just a flash in the pan? Are Arsenal title challenges, or was last year them capitalising on other teams not performing? Because that's what I believe it was. I believe that now that you've seen us get back to the level, I still don't think we're at our best, but you've seen us get back to a better level. City, they've kind of, I think Nobbins can attest that they sort of struggled a little bit. They've had probably the worst run of form under Guardiola this season, and yet they're still above them. I mean, Jesus Christ, Aston Villa are above them. And
okay, so hold on. So you're actually okay.
My point is that I don't think they are these title challenges that were made out. I think they're a top four side that need a bit of luck and need someone to fall off the door.
So that means you think last year was a blip for them,
a flash in the pan sort of thing, yeah.
All right. So here is my thing about Arsenal. I actually said from the beginning of the season, Arsenal look weaker because I said this Arsenal team built a system that needs 11 players to work very well in the system. And one of the main parts of that was Granit Xhaka at 8. Same as Gundogan for City at the end, the one that can cover deep, go inside the 18. And I'm comparing Xhaka to Gundogan, not on ability, but in terms of efficiency on the pitch. Like, as Gundogan was very efficient for Man City last year and clutch, Granit Xhaka had 14 GA as a midfielder. And by the way, Granit Xhaka seasons before wasn't great. The way he performed just last season was top. There is a reason why Granit Xhaka now under Xabi Alonso is performing amazing, right? Because Granit Xhaka is a good player. He isn't a Gundogan in terms of consistency, ability, and all the stuff. But he was used very well in that system. He left, and who do you replace him with? One game, Fabio Vieira. One game, Kai Havertz. One game, Trossard. One game, Emil Smith-Rowe. That one guy made the system completely not work. Martinelli is underperforming. Odegaard is underperforming. Rice is isolated. Zinchenko is being exposed massively, by the way. And just for people to understand, even Pep Guardiola this year, when he struggled to get the midfield right, when he went 5 games without winning, every Man City fan, and Nobbins here, we see every week, he said, well, Rodri's isolated. Julian Alvarez isn't defending. Right? Many times we sat here and we said that, Nobbins. Yeah, the difference is Man City are very strong and very experienced, and they have a long history of winning, that even when they didn't perform well, they didn't lose. And they still won games because they have clutch players like Foden. He can drop in the middle, be clutch to you. Right? Ederson saved them a couple of games. Does that make sense? But Arsenal don't have that. So Arteta, the guy that built the system last year, why not? And I'm going to ask this question to to Tom. Why not? We don't believe that he can build the system again if he get the right players. Yeah, he made a mistake. Everybody makes mistake. And I'm going to say City, because when people say I say City, because City are the standards. Because the team that won the treble are the team that we all aspire to be like. We're all looking at City as the perfect team that won the treble. This is the top of the football. They cannot win they could have won a quadruple, but they didn't.
Quintuple.
Yes, but Tom, the guy that built the system last year, why can't he build the system again? Yes, he made a mistake of habits. Why can't he build that system again?
He could do, but I don't think it's a title winning system.
But last year they were on course for a centurion, and they had a major injury of William Saliba that they didn't have a substitution, because Rob Holding to William Saliba is nuts. Pep Guardiola, when all his defense got injured, I think 1 year, he finished on 70-something points, if I'm not mistaken.
He finished on 81. It was the 1920 year. It was the year he won the title, and he did. And whereas Arsenal,
defenders.
Arsenal lost
that
Saliba.
year was terrible.
That year was terrible. No, because Arsenal lost Saliba for 10 games,
and they capitulated these 10 games. By the way,
Man City lost Laporte for 30. Man City were going into games that season with a back two of Fernandinho and Rodri.
I'm going the levels, Tom. I'm going the levels. There is levels. Like when Man City, if Man City lose one player, it's different than Arsenal. That I believe that last year had only 11 players competent to play that system. Only 11 available. There is a difference. Man City, Pep Guardiola has this amazing thing that he has 15 players that they can you can put whoever in and they can play the system. Listen, in the Champions League final, Kevin De Bruyne went out, Foden went in, and they looked exactly the same or even better. Like it didn't matter. Like I didn't feel that Kevin De Bruyne got injured. That's completely different, Tom. Completely different.
But then my point would be, if we go back to Liverpool don't have 15 players who can play the system. We just have a system that works. Arsenal's system, I don't think. I just look at Arsenal and go, if you're building a system that needs all these players to do this exact job, it's too mechanical. And the moment teams figure out how to stop that, you're fucked. Right. And Arteta isn't a Pep Guardiola level to switch it up.
Of course he isn't. Otherwise he would have won the league.
Yeah, but I just feel that Arteta is someone who's just going to go, okay, we'll ride it out. It'll sort itself out. I don't see what... Well, I look at Havertz being his tactical evolution, and it went wrong. I don't know what his correct tactical evolution is going to be to fix it.
Yeah,
you know, all of this. I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to leave the mic to Nobbins. I'm going to say one thing. It's all about if you believe as an Arsenal fan, and I'm a neutral. I'm not an Arsenal fan. I don't care actually, but I want a competitive Premier League. It's all about if Arsenal fans believe, can Arteta in the future be that top manager like the managers to win you titles? It's as simple as that. Like, do you guys in the chat, I want a yes or no question. Do you believe Arteta in the future, if you leave him long enough, can build a system and can build a squad that is willing to win you titles? It's a yes or no question. If no, sack him today, because there is no going forward with that. If yes, you wait until he regress. That's the point. If he regresses this year, which means if he finishes fourth, finishes third, 10 points behind the title contenders, yeah, that's regression because he doesn't have enough credit in the bank. That's it.
That was going to be my point, that I need to wait to see what happens at the end of the season, because I don't think they have. I know, like, I think it was on your show, Mo. Was it Northside? Is that
yes,
that chap's name?
Northside. Yes.
He was saying no, we've got to win, or it's like he's got to go for me. If I was an Arsenal fan, what I want to see is progression. So at least second. And also, you need to like take whoever's leading whoever's in the title race. You got to take them to like the final day of the season. That would be progression from last season. Also, I don't know, like, a quarter-final or a semi-final appearance in the Champions League, depending on the draw. I think if he achieves that, then I think it's definitely worth giving him another season. If there is regression, if he finishes third, the title's gone with 5 games before the end of the season, then it's a different conversation. I do think last season came out of nowhere in terms of challenging. So for me, that'll be the question. But I mean, there does need to be improvement in the short term. Like, we've touched on the squad building, which, in my opinion, it is a mistake. Like, Mo, you mentioned losing Xhaka, not properly replacing him. Pep did make a similar mistake, or City made a similar mistake, but City and Pep have a lot of credit in the bank.
Yes.
Where it's like, yeah, they made a mistake, but look at all the good stuff they've done in the past, whereas Arteta doesn't have that same position.
What was that mistake that Pep made? What mistake
letting
was that?
Letting Gundogan go, and not
Was
not
that a
just
Pep
like,
mistake? I don't know the full
well,
story.
I said Pep slash City.
Because didn't Pep want to keep him, but City just didn't give him the length of contract that he wanted?
Yeah.
I actually think renewing Kyle Walker and not letting him go to Bayern Munich is a mistake.
Yeah, it's probably more a City mistake than a Pep mistake. But, I'm for the sake of argument, I'm just throwing them into the same thread. So there is less credit in the bank, and he is also, in my opinion, like, not utilizing some of his players correctly. I think that I tweeted about this. I think that Declan Rice in recent games, especially, is basically being asked to be Rodri, which he isn't, and he can't do that.
What did you mean by that? I saw your tweet and I saw your video. I think you mentioned that in something, and I think you were on the show in something, or that was a tweet. What do you mean by that? But before you do that, guys, about almost 400 people here. Can we get to 200 likes? The like button is underneath your live chat. Don't slack. Hit that like button. Go ahead, Tom. Go ahead, Nobbins. Sorry.
So what I mean by, again, it's no disrespect to Declan Rice, because he is a fantastic footballer, and in my opinion, he has been Arsenal's best player this season. It would have been like, the league probably would have been over had City got their hands on Declan Rice. That's how good he is as a player. But he is a player with very obvious strengths and less obvious strengths. So what I mean by, especially in the last few games, he saw Arteta sort of trying to use him as a Rodri type figure, is that lots of creative burden is being laid at the door or at the feet of Declan Rice, and it's a perfect contrast. If you watch the the Sheffield United game or the Everton game recently for City, and you look at the performance of Rodri, and in terms of when he picks up the ball, he has the ability to break those lines and to really assist his side in build-up play, ultimately pinning the opposition back. And also, like, I also think of, like, his diagonal switches to where you overload one side of the pitch to get to isolate on the other side of the pitch, even where wingers will create space for him on the edge of the box for him to take a long shot opportunity, because he's so good at those. He's so good at shooting from distance. Arsenal are constructing those similar chances for Rice in terms of, like, the wing play. So, like, Rice regularly receives it on the edge of the box in the shooting opportunity, but Declan Rice is not a long shot specialist in the same way that Rodri is. Declan Rice isn't bad at passing forwards by any means, but in my opinion, he's nowhere near the level of a Rodri in terms of breaking those lines. And when you've got a team like Fulham, who, when they went 2-1 up especially, sat back as you would, because you've taken the lead against Arsenal, they didn't really have any solution for it, because Rice can't do that. Rice can't pick up the ball and go, right, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to maraud forwards, and I'm going to play that ball through Fulham's midfield line, and then it's going to be, a player in the pockets is going to pick it up, whatever. He can't do that, and it's no fault of his own. That's a fault of how he's being used. So that's what I mean by that. He is not as good as Rodri on the ball, obviously, no matter what people want to try to suggest. Therefore, it doesn't make sense to try to use him in that same mold. So that's what I meant by that tweet, and that's what I meant by Arteta's using Rice, in my opinion, in a very weird Rodri-like way, and ultimately he can't do that. And that's why we saw some mental stats from yesterday. Arsenal didn't. What was it? So Arsenal didn't play a pass in zone 14, which is like the area just in front of the penalty box, so when most chances are created, from Fulham's goal, basically from like minute 67 to 95. They just couldn't get through. They couldn't actually construct any passes or chances in and around that area because they couldn't advance through the center of the pitch
Oh
because
my
they
God.
don't
Who's
have.
been saying that? Who's been saying that all their build-up has to go through the wings because the midfield isn't very good?
And that's exactly what happens. Rice is on the ball, but he doesn't want to do that, or in my opinion, he isn't capable of doing it to that level. When the opposition is as good as Fulham is defensively, certain when they're as organised as they are, and Tommy, you're absolutely right. What ends up happening is Rice picks up the ball, he drifts over to the right. Also, what happens is Odegaard has to drop deep to assist him in build-up. Again, that's an issue. Rice goes to the right, passes it to Saka, who's, as we know, is being like doubled up on, sometimes trebled up on the season. You're asking Saka to perform some unreal magic, and this season he's not been as good as he was last season. So there's lots of issues, and as I say, I think a lot of it does. I know I defended Arteta earlier, but I think a lot of it does come down to not quite using some of his players right and not really problem solving efficiently.
I also think you've seen again, look, Pep Guardiola is someone who obviously Mikel Arteta's worked with. Both of them sides of this season use 4 centre-backs. Or they want, I know Pep hasn't been able to as much because of John Stones' injury, but it's what he wants to do. He wants to use 4 centre-backs in his defence. And what's his name? Arteta he's had Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tomiyasu. The issue is the way Arsenal attack is directly counterintuitive to the fullbacks he plays. If you're building up down the wing, you don't want a fullback overlapping. You don't want a centre-back, overlapping. The centre-back is there to form a back three or to drop into a DM position. Ben White is asked to overlap Saka. Tomiyasu needs to overlap. Martinelli and Saka get so isolated because they don't have an overlap there. That they're wingers that rely on quick attacks, and they don't get the support that's needed, which is why they get doubled and tripled up on. It's why I look at this Arsenal side and go, you need a more traditional wing back. You need a wing back more than anything. Trust that Saliba can cover 2 spots. Trust that on the occasion Joe counter attack, Saliba can cover right back and right centre back because he's good enough to do it. But having 4 centre backs, it just kills your build up.
I know he's trying to copy Pep and stuff. I want last couple of questions about Arsenal. Is just a couple of simple questions. Can Arsenal actually finish outside the top 4? Is that a possibility for them?
Mm-hmm.
How disastrous would that be?
I mean, if that happened, you would have to sack him, obviously. I mean, that's not even a question.
To be honest, there is a level above that, Nobbins, which is if you finish 10 points, that's regression away from the top. You have to sack the guy, especially for a league like this, where I believe the winner of this league will not get to 90 points. It will be one in the 80s. So
I don't think that will happen. I think this is a bad period, obviously, but I don't think it's going to get that bad. Surely.
But if they finish outside of the top 4, how disastrous is that? And also, the reason why I'm asking that is that some of these players should Saka reconsider their staying at Arsenal.
I mean, it depends on
if Real Madrid come knocking. Okay, so if Real Madrid come knocking with 100, 120, 130, they need a right winger next year because they have Vinny on the left. Should Saka reconsider staying at Arsenal?
If Real Madrid come in, Bukayo Saka should always go to Real Madrid. Real Madrid,
no matter what it is, no matter what it is.
Real Madrid or Real Madrid. That offer doesn't come about many times.
If Liverpool come knocking next year to replace Mohamed, here we go. Okay, if you don't get Mbappe and you go ask for Saka, should Saka go to Liverpool if Arsenal don't win the league this year?
No,
I think you can make the argument either way. Does he want to stay in that Arsenal project where it is being built around him, even though there are clear issues there? Or does he want to come to Liverpool, which is a completely different makeup of the side, where he's going to be asked to do a very different job? And I also don't think he's an out-and-out Salah replacement because he doesn't score as many goals. So,
well, he did last year.
Saka got 15 goals.
But that's
he scored 15.
So that's why the development. Hence,
I don't think
Jurgen Klopp to develop.
I don't think Bukayo Saka is ever going to be a player that hits 30 goals. I don't think he ever will be.
Well, Mohamed Salah did that once. Mohamed Salah did that once. I love Mohamed Salah, right?
I don't just mean in the league. I don't just mean. I mean in all competitions. I don't think Saka's getting 30 a season all comps. Ever.
Oh, okay. So he's not going to be that goal-scoring winger, like
no.
Oh,
right. I don't. That he will be a good winger. He'll be a very good winger, but he'll be more of a 15-15 guy at his peak.
All right then.
Yes, Saka needs to stay at Arsenal. I think that he could become that. He could become that winger. He's still a very young player, isn't he? Only 21.
22.
So
22.
22. So he's got time on his side, and there's no reason why he can't become that guy. And what
Do you think he's
Can
gonna
he?
start picking
Okay,
injuries, Dom?
Nobbins. The question is, can he become that guy at Arsenal?
Yes.
Because Arsenal will win trophies, or are they gonna develop?
I think so. Yeah.
All right.
I think so. I think there's the potential to do that 100%. My tune might change depending on what happens at the end of this season, but I don't see why not. But I also think Saka needs to develop as well. Like Saka's now a victim of his own success. Where last season he was, I mean, he was also good before last season. But last season was his brilliant season. Now he's not an unknown quantity, and now opposition defenses know how much of a risk he is. So because they know how good Arsenal is. So if anything, he should stay at Arsenal to develop his game, because the best players are the ones who can, problem solve and go, right, now I'm being doubled up on, etc. What do I do? How do I problem solve on the pitch? And so the question will be, can Saka add that to his game, as, the likes of Mo Salah has done? And if he can do that, then there's no reason why he can't go to the next level. Yeah. Also, isn't he a massive diehard Arsenal fan from the academy? So he's staying there.
Yeah, Saka will stay. The only club that will pull Saka away is Real Madrid, in my opinion, because it's Real Madrid. But I look at Saka, and fantastic player. I also feel there's going to be a period of time where he'll be getting injured soon, because of just the sheer amount of games that he has been forced to play at such
He
a
has
young
played
age.
a lot of football.
It's
correct.
going to catch up to him sooner rather than later. And Mikel Arteta doesn't seem to manage him correctly in certain things. I mean, how many dead rubber games is he playing 90 minutes in? The one thing I always praise Pep Guardiola for
Mohamed Salah plays the same amount of games.
Mo
Mohamed
Salah.
Salah keeps himself in a very good shape.
Mo Salah isn't 22. Mo Salah's 31. It's different when you're younger. Saka's been playing. It's not easy because a lot of these players who end up getting injury problems later on in their career.
Oh, you're talking about later on. I was thinking
I have a magnitude of minutes early on in the career. Like I saw, there was a graph one time which I saw, and it was the 10 players who played the most minutes before the age of 22, and Neymar was top. Look at the injuries now. Hazard was up there. Sanchez was up there.
I think Rooney would have been up there as well.
Rooney was up there 100%. I think Bellingham was on the cusp of it, so that's something that, I mean, Bellingham's already starting to struggle a little bit with shoulder problems and everything. So all these things do start to add up. So I just wonder for Arsenal, especially with the lack of a clear backup for them, because it's quite clear that Arteta doesn't like Reece Nelson. Otherwise, he'd play him more often.
Guys,
are they just going to burn out Saka?
They might. They actually might. So is this a two-horse race then? Guys, see, when you hit that like button, we reached over 430 people here. So you can actually hit that like button more, and we can get more people watching. It's simple. It doesn't cost you a penny. Let's get to 200 likes in the next 5 minutes. We're only 17 likes away, 15 likes now. So hit that like button underneath your live chat. Close the live chat, hit that like button so we can get more people to watch. Two-horse races, yeah? We're going back to seasons before. Is that what it is? Or the league is going to stay tight until the end, including Aston Villa. By the way, like, what I mean is that Aston Villa will be close, because at the moment, Aston Villa are 42 points. Like, 20 games in, 42 points. That's not a bad outcome at all.
I think that it will still be... City, Liverpool and Arsenal, sort of like with 5 games left to go. Those will be the 3 who are... Each of them are still, within...
touching distance within, a possibility or a probability.
Yeah, exactly. Within the realms of reality of winning the league title. I personally think that Spurs by that point won't quite be there. I think Aston Villa have been unbelievable this season, but again, I personally don't think by that stage in the season they will be there, in my opinion. Obviously, that remains to be seen. But yeah, I think that the idea of Arsenal now being out of the title race just because they've had 2 losses back to back is a bit silly, in the way that some people were writing off City
Arsenal
in and around.
fans. Arsenal fans are writing off Man City.
in and around this,
Nobody wrote off
when
Man
we were
City.
struggling.
Oh no, there were plenty of Arsenal fans who
I
were sitting there
said
going,
no,
"Man
but
City
we
are washed,
said
Man City are finished."
I said Man City aren't looking the same. They need reinforcement. Pep Guardiola need to change something because the table don't lie. Man City at the moment are on course to get 80 points only, 40 points out of 19 games. Am I mistaken?
Again, though, you've not factored in second half of the season, City.
Yes,
There's
fine.
always a different kettle of fish in the second half of the season.
Already John Stones
Always
is
is.
injured again, if I'm not mistaken. So.
I still think Arsenal finish second. I'm not going to change my mind on that.
All right
thing.
then.
I'm going to be
Fuck,
consistent.
fuck you, Nobbins. Fuck you.
I'm just a consistent man, and I refuse to be swayed by 2 results.
So you refuse to be swayed by the fact that we've got a better defense on them and a better attack on them.
I am being consistent. Whether that
To
is
be fair-
wrong is another matter, but I would rather at least try to be consistent, even if it looks wrong, than try to jump around every single week.
No. But hold on. This is actually conclusions change based on circumstances. Like
I
if
don't
Liverpool
think enough's
tomorrow,
happened, not enough has happened
exactly
for me.
Okay. So Tom,
to
what
change.
do Arsenal need to do in this January transfer window for you, for your Majesty, to consider them again in the title race?
They need Liverpool and Man City to not do anything.
Hold on. What
Or
do they need
just-
to
or-
do?
What? No, but this is the whole point. I don't think there is just a player they sign who then just magically
You don't
fixes all
think
their
there is anything
problems.
Arsenal can do that will put them back in the mix?
They're still in the mix, but they're just not going to win it. And I don't think there's anyone they can sign who will win it for them.
Oof.
Unless
If they,
Victor
if they
Osimhen.
sign it, if they sign Mbappe,
Oh yeah, because that's going to happen. Kylian Mbappe's going to go. Yeah, give me a minute, Mikel. I'll turn down Real Madrid and Liverpool to go to the
he
blocky
has to
little
go and
gunners.
battle it. He can go and battle it with Martinelli to see who's better on that left side.
Oh mate, look, the Ivan
I thought that
Toney,
was the
I
talk.
don't-
That was some of the talk last year, by the way. Literally.
Oh yeah, no, they were saying they didn't want Mbappe because they didn't want to stop Martinelli's development. Look, I look at Arsenal. A striker doesn't fix all the problems. Honestly speaking, they need to get to the summer and have a perfect summer. They need to buy a top DM and move Declan Rice to the Xhaka role because Rice in the Xhaka role, Rice in the DM isn't really getting the best out of him.
You
The
guys
way Arteta
literally
wants the DM
just
to play.
said, sorry, Tom, can I interject? You and Nobbins agreed that Declan Rice doesn't have the offensive abilities for the midfielder, but now you guys want to put him in the eight.
I never said he didn't have the offensive abilities. I said he doesn't have the passing. It's a different thing. Declan Rice could do the late arriving in the box that Xhaka was doing very well. He was showing that he could do that last year at West Ham. Declan Rice this year being asked to play so much of a build-up role and do so much of a dictating of tempo, which he can't do because he's a little bit more of a dum. Even when you look at the Liverpool midfield he works in, not Liverpool, the England midfield he works in, they are very attack-minded midfields where he gets to sit a bit further forward. And even then, he had Calvin Phillips next to him during his best tournament in the Euros. Calvin Phillips was doing the majority of the defensive, dictating tempo, this, that, and the other. Declan Rice doesn't do that. So I think they need a DM. I think they need at least 2 attacking wing backs, and they need to figure out what they're doing in their attack. I don't know whether it's.
I think they need
Martinelli
another
up
option up
or-
top. I think they need a striker.
100%.
In my
I don't know if
opinion,
it's a striker
I
or not,
actually
though.
think they need a left 8 and they need another option for a striker. Ivan Toney can play a striker. Gabriel Jesus can play on the left. Or Gabriel. The reason why I'm saying that, because Gabriel Jesus is pivotal to that system, including the wingers, blah, 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 all the stuff, like the false 9. But in games like yesterday, you really need a new system. You need a new option. You cannot just have Nketiah coming off and Gabriel Jesus coming on, and that's your other option.
I don't disagree with you, Mum. I don't disagree with you, but Ivan Toney isn't the answer.
Not by himself. I actually think the midfield. Okay, so I said that many times. Okay, listen, hear me out.
No, I don't mean in terms of the. I just mean I agree they need
Ivan
the striker.
Toney as a person.
I don't agree Ivan Toney is who they should buy for striker.
Okay, that's a different story. But I believe that you always fix a hole in your starting lineup before getting other options. I believe that Arsenal at the moment have a hole in that starting 11, which is the left 8 next to Rice and Odegaard. Is that going to be Rice? Huh?
I think they have a number of holes.
Yeah, but that one is a hole. Like there is no one there, Nobbins. By the way, even if Thomas Partey comes back, you'll have to play a double pivot and Odegaard is a 10. You cannot play, in my opinion, Declan Rice play very good as a 6. He just needs a better 8 next to him. Can it be Partey? It might be, but Partey is made of glass. So he's injured all the time. So I believe they need that. And for the left, okay, so I'm going to answer this and people might not like it in the chat. This Zinchenko notion that he cannot be a left back, I get it. But he can be a left back in a system that shifts Zinchenko to be a midfielder, and there is enough cover for him. There is enough cover, which what happened last year. Zinchenko played the majority of the beginning of the season last year, and there was a cover for him. And that covers the deficiencies that he has defensively. Same as when Jordan Henderson used to do for Trent. Same as now Jurgen Klopp when he inverts Trent. Yeah, Trent improved defensively, but still a lot of people cover Trent on that side for Liverpool. That's what needs to happen. He isn't a traditional left back. Zinchenko isn't. Zinchenko plays as a midfielder, and Pep Guardiola started him in the midfield for some games. So that means he believes his ability on the ball is good going forward. You can play him as a left 8. That's what I mean. They need a left back, an out-and-out left back that can play there. Well, Tomiyasu's coming back, and he can play that role, even though I don't believe Tomiyasu is that top player. But I believe the 2 players that they need in this window isn't a left back, because Timber will come back at some point in February or something, and you have Tomiyasu. And I believe you need a left 8, someone like a Gundogan, a De Jong, a Nicolo Barella, even a Szoboszlai that can play in a box-to-box, someone like a McAllister, someone like Caicedo. There's a lot of names out there, but you didn't go for one of them. Your manager went for Kai Havertz. That's what your manager did. He chose that guy. That's the problem. You need a forward as well. That's what I believe.
So basically, Liverpool done a midfield rebuild better than Arsenal did, and Arsenal didn't even need to do a midfield rebuild.
He didn't. They could have just kept Xhaka and could have gotten backups. They could have just offered the guy a contract.
All this stuff is just backing up my point of why I don't think Arsenal are where their fans believe
Yeah,
they are.
but
It is
that's
still
why in the
just
beginning of
Liverpool
the
City.
season. Yeah, but that's why both of you need work. I believe Liverpool need work. You need work. You are the most consistent team in the league, but not consistently good. Does that make sense? The difference is Man City, second half of the season, they were consistently good. You are the most consistent team in the league. That's why they are top, right? If you look at Liverpool, you don't have blips. You don't lose 2 games in a row. You don't go 5 without a win like Man City. You don't. Yes, you drew 2 games at home, but again, it's Manchester United and Arsenal. You don't have a whole dip where you go like 3, 4, 5 games without a win. You don't do that. Liverpool didn't do this for 20 games or 19 games. That's the difference. If you get a Paulinia, completely different story for Liverpool Football Club. I would say it's a completely different story. Well, Man City,
I don't think a DM's what we need. You know, it depends on the state that certain players come back in. But a DM is like a next year.
Well, I know you're a believer in Bajcetic and Jota. I believe Bajcetic and Thiago. You are a believer.
I'm not Thiago. I'm believing Bajcetic. I think Bajcetic can come in. And
I know you are a believer. But did you see Paulinho yesterday?
Paulinho was very good. He was very good. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you believe there is anyone at Liverpool that can do this job?
No, but I also don't think we need him to. We don't need a player to do that job necessarily. But the way it's set up at the minute, I think if our system went, but we're not playing. Mo, you got to understand, we are not playing the same way that we play with Fabinho. We're doing it a different way.
But that's why you're exposed.
If we were going back, but we're not exposed though because we got the best defense in the league.
Yes. Okay. Do you want me to tell you a stat or no? Okay.
What is it? XG?
You have the best. Okay. So no. It's okay. So you have the best defense in the league, but that defense concede a lot of chances. Okay. In my opinion, which is Pep Guardiola said that years ago. He said the best way to defend is to prevent your defenders from defending, to actually stop your defenders and goalkeeper from having a save and a last-ditch tackles. As a team, Van Dijk stepped up. Alisson is ridiculous. His save percentage, number of saves are astronomical. Great in the league, right? Why? Because your midfield get bypassed, and now you concede the chance, and now your defense save it, and Alisson save it.
Again, no more.
Fabinho back in the day used to prevent that from happening. Used to suffocate teams. You play a different system, but you still concede chances, Tom. The midfield prevent your defenders from consistently try to defend.
Okay, but you're acting. Look, this point is we only play the way we play because of the players we have. We defend the way we defend. We concede chances the way we concede chances because we have the best goalkeeper in the world, who has, as you said, astronomical save rates. If this was a blip from Allison and it was just it is what it is.
Oh,
But
so you're
we
okay with that?
we have defended like this for years because we've got in goal, which is why when Kelleher goes in goal, we concede 3 because he can't make the saves that Allison makes. He's probably Allison is the reason we can play how we play. But that's what managers do. You build a system around the players you
Right.
have.
Can I ask you something? Do you see how Indo played in the last some games? How he performed, how he intercepts and stop the attacks from going to you. Do you know that you went, if I'm not mistaken, from I think 11th in terms of conceding chances to the fourth best right away? Do you know why that happened in the last games?
Because you had
Because of
Endo in there. Is that what you're
Exactly.
going to say?
Because the Indo
Don't think
started
it-
to
that-
prevent.
Yeah,
Because the
he's
Indo
a-
started preventing chances from happening.
He's
So
a good factor in there. I agree,
Yeah.
but he's not the be all end all. Other players
it's not
stepped
only
up.
him, but he's a factor in there. That's the
I
thing,
agree.
Tom.
I
That's what a
agree.
DM
But
gives
then
you.
this,
Like
but
Rodri
you've got to
used to
understand
intercept
why I
before
don't
the chance
feel the
happened.
need to bring in a DM then.
All right.
Because we
okay.
have him still. We have him still.
Okay.
You've got Bajcetic coming in who you need to develop.
Okay. Here is the question. And I asked this question. And I said it. And I comment. There's one comment that I said it before. If Indo continues like this, you might not need a DM. But what guarantees that Indo will continue with this great form that he is at the moment? Like there are no guarantees. Does that make sense?
No, but this is the thing, Mo. I don't need Endo to play every game. I don't. Endo is needed against the good opposition because that's where you want to concede less chances, arguably. But we still play the way we play against that opposition, so we are still going to concede chances. What we need is a centre back or left back option to cover for whatever is going on that side of the pitch because we've got no one there now, and arguably another attacker because our attack can go through barren spells, and then we really do start to struggle, and you have to try and pull goals out from elsewhere. But in terms of the DM, you got McAllister, who Klopp likes in that position. So you've got to bear in mind, that is the type of DM that he wants. You've got McAllister there, you've got Endo there, you're going to have Bajcetic there, you're going to have Thiago there.
I'm going to
keep
it
isn't enough room this season for a DM. Next
your
summer,
DM
I
doesn't
agree,
stop
you
the
get one.
No, if your DM doesn't stop attacks, you won't win a lot of games.
But our DM, but even
I'm not
McAllister
saying
was stopping
that-
attacks.
I'm
Why
not
we
saying
act like
correlation
McAllister wasn't
equals.
stopping them?
I'm not saying correlation equals causation, but when was the last time a Premier League winning side won a title without a defensive midfielder?
I don't know.
I don't think it's happened within the past 10,
20
15
years.
years.
What, like,
More.
what, like
More.
what, like a traditional DM?
Yeah, way
I
more.
suppose so.
Probably less than 15, 16. I don't think Kante is a traditional DM of sorts.
Yeah,
But Kante was doing exactly what we're asking for, stopping attacks from happening.
Which, in fairness, was also a bit of an outlier season because it was Leicester, to be fair.
Again, look,
I'm not saying correlation equals causation.
No,
but
I get that. I get that point. But even then, I'm not saying we don't have a. We do still have a DM. We do still have a DM. That's the thing. Endo is there. Endo is a good option. Bajcetic is a DM. Bajcetic is an option.
I'm specifically meaning, I don't mean it it happens to be in the squad. I'm talking about, like, if you said what is your most consistent starting 11, there would be a 6 within there. That was more my point. I'm not saying it's necessarily the case, but is it just a coincidence that the vast majority of Premier League winning sides have had one? Certainly, I can't think of one. If we're excluding Leicester for the outlier point, I think you maybe have to go back to, I don't even know what you'd have to go back to.
I think the closest the team's gotten.
Sides were more traditional 4-4-2s, you didn't necessarily need to have an out-and-out 6. You could get away with 2 box-to-box midfielders.
Yeah, look, I look at it. I look at it and I go, do I think that by next year the DM should be the football club? Yes, 100%. You are eventually going to need to buy a DM to move McAllister out of the position. But for the prices we are going to be quoted this January, and for the quality of play that I believe is going to be available, unless this Palhinha for 30 million stuff is actually legit, which I highly doubt it is.
30?
Apparently Palhinha is like 35, 40 mil.
What?
So, which I don't believe because he's just signed a new contract. The only DM I would want from the Premier League is Kamara from Villa. Now, if we walk up to Villa and go, can we have Kamara? We're getting told, do one. So then what DM can I buy this January? Who fixes my problem?
Aston Villa won't sell their DM to a title contender.
Exactly. But what DM then can I buy this January who fixes the problem and is a good long-term solution? Max Wiefer from Feyenoord be gambling on another Dutch league player. Is that the gamble that we're taking?
There's a comment here that is actually, so AK is saying, Mo, not the last 4 games, 4 shots on target, they are improving. Yeah, Liverpool, because we said Indo is performing well. So if Indo is going to continue like this, you're going to be fine. But what guarantees that Indo will look like? Maybe.
I
Actually,
also think, though, Mo, our defense at the start, yes, we won a lot of games 3-1, but they were the goal we conceded in those games were not indicative, really. They were not indicative of the quality. So I look at it and then I go, the midfield that started that season of Jones, Szoboszlai, McAllister, that can get you through a month and a half without Endo.
A lot of teams,
and that can get you through games against the bottom half opposition because it can defend in the other way. What I do agree with is when you come up against a Man City, when you come up against an Arsenal, when you come up against a United, a Chelsea, a Tottenham, you probably want a DM in there just to stop their attacks a little bit better. That I wholeheartedly agree with. But I'm not going to find that DM this window. I'm not going to. So I am going to have to sort of firm it and hope that Bajcetic can come in, that Thiago can come in and do the job for me. Now, Thiago actually has very good DM numbers. They're just, the sample size is always very small because the man just lives on the injury table. That's where he lives. That's where so I don't know if he can carry that consistently over a period of time. Bajcetic, it's a gamble in terms of his fitness. Obviously, he's got the growing pains at the minute. But should he get over them and they're able to provide an option, Bajcetic's numbers last year were very good for a DM. And now I don't know how much you've seen of him. He's grown a couple of inches. He's put a fair bit of weight on now. So he looks ready to win some physical battles in the midfield. He could be another DM option. I understand that at the start of the season, a DM was needed. Completely agreed. You get one in Endo who took a while to get going, but is now a very good option. I don't see the point in spending £80 million on another DM this window when we do have other pressing concerns that can be addressed with better options than the DM we could buy. You could go get me an Asio this window, and then that's my defence sorted. I don't need to touch that again. I'm happy with every single defensive option, bar potentially buying a backup right back in the future. Attack-wise, you want to go get me a Johan Bakayoko from PSV. If you want to go big and try and pay Elise's release clause, or go and see if you can poach Pedro Neto from Wolves or something, you want to go get me another winger option, that's fine. I agree with that. But that's because they are good options.
Yeah. Last thing
I
about
don't know
Liverpool.
what good DM option that is.
How do you think Liverpool Nobbins will cope without Mohamed Salah? Ryan is asking.
Is he off
AFCON,
isn't he?
AFCON, he's off next week.
He goes after today.
I mean, history tells us that they actually do quite well when Salah leaves and also when Mane leaves. So if history's anything to go off, then they will be fine, annoyingly. Because I every single year I'm like, yes, Salah's off to AFCON, now they're going to crumble, and they just like win anyway. It's like, oh. So I actually don't know if it's going to
There's always a player that just steps up and like how City had it for years with Gundogan and Mahrez who'd step up for a month and a half. We just end up finding some player who'll step up and get us through these games.
Yeah, so I personally don't see it as being the, gotcha sort of thing of, now the bad run's going to come just because of these players leaving. Like, because, like if Salah leaves, you can play Jota there, for example. Now I think is it only Salah that's going as well? Because obviously there's no Mane.
And Endo goes Asian Cup, but Salah goes.
Yeah, sure. And we've just discussed.
Yeah, but they don't need midfielders.
We've just discussed that maybe they don't. Maybe I'm absolutely wrong, and maybe they don't need a defensive midfielder this season. So maybe that's not even an issue either. I also don't know if there are any big games he misses anyway. I personally don't see it being this massive issue. I know Salah has been unreal this season, but again, as Tom says, someone else will step up. Whether it's Darwin Nunez, whether it's Jota, whether Luis Diaz hits form, it's someone else will take that burden, and it's not going to be like, oh, and they keep dropping points over and over and over again. I don't see that being a thing.
Jota's the big one for us. Jota's the big one for us because he's the one who I sit there and trust to finish chances. Nunez is very hit and miss. If he's on it, he's going to score a fair few goals. But are we going to get a Nunez that's on it for the next month and a half? Diaz, I'm just fucking hell. I've lost a lot of confidence in that man since I watched Anthony putting a right back clinic on him. And Gakpo, I quite like him on the left wing. I thought he had a very good game against Burnley on the left wing. I think that's something that can be explored in the future. We have the attackers to get us through a month and a half. If you add Elliott there, you've got a more natural right wing option. So I look at it and I don't think it shouldn't be as big an issue as others are making out. And obviously it depends how far Egypt get in the tournament. Obviously there is the game that does worry me is if Egypt do make it to the quarterfinals. I think Mo probably knows better than me. If it's the quarterfinals, he misses
your
the
guess is
Arsenal.
better than mine. I'm actually not.
I think it's the quarters or the semis.
Gonna start actually.
The quarters or the semis, he misses Arsenal in the league at the Emirates. That's the big one that he can miss. So that's one that I'll be a little bit gust about if he misses. But like I said, I back the players that we've got, and it's not. I'd be more concerned if we were losing Alisson. Basically, I'd be more concerned if we were losing Van Dijk. Salah's good at scoring the goals, but we do have other players who can pop up with goals.
So you didn't think Salah is performing well then?
I think when I say he isn't performing well, I'm just saying other players are more important because of the lack of quality replacements we've got for them. If I was to lose Alisson for a month and a half, we'd struggle. If I was to lose Van Dijk for a month and a half, we'd really struggle.
So you think there are players that can replace Mohamed Salah in Liverpool?
If we lose Salah, we can still win games of football, but they just
so
won't
he is replaceable in the current squad.
No, because we're not going to get the same level of output. But instead of winning games 2-0, 3-0, we'll win 1-0. And they'll be scrappy. And it'll be a lot more of Van Dijk man of the matches and Alisson man of the matches. And, defenders getting the...
It's also a short-term issue as well.
Yeah, it's not like, he's gone for the rest of the season. He's back in mid-Feb at the latest.
All right.
He'll be fine then. So,
okay. We'll see. Okay, last point. Man City.
Hey.
Okay, what question should we ask?
Oh,
because every time I'm on a show, this is the notion. Man City start slow, wait until February. They will be all right. They will be good. They will go on a run. You shouldn't be worried. You shouldn't talk about them. You shouldn't wait until Kevin De Bruyne is back. Wait until John Stones is back. Man City are going to be great. And all right, so we shouldn't talk about Man City then.
No, you've got to talk about them, but you also got to give them the respect.
That's it. Every time I talk about Man City, people say, "Well, wait until March."
No, because you can bring up the points, but you can bring up the points and say this is why I think they might not have that end of season form. But the
why
issue
do you
think
they might not have that end of season form?
Because I don't think KDB is going to be the same player that he was. I think that this double hamstring injury, it was. I can't remember what the first one was, but I think it was like torn off the bone or something. And then it wasn't properly treated, and we had another flare up. I don't think it came off the bone the second time, but it was another, bad tear of it.
It's a grade 3 or whatever it's called.
So two massive hamstring injuries back to back, that can affect a player. And the idea that City were banking a lot of their thing on KDB returning back to the level that he was, that's the sort of thing. But you can't sit there and just go, okay, well, they're not going to do it, because they've been in worse situations and still come back and done it. That's the one thing I'll always give them. You cannot write them off. And I'm not saying you did, Mo, but I don't like the Arsenal fans who were sitting there going, City aren't the same. It's just between...
I don't get what do you mean by writing them off?
Saying that, it's between Liverpool and Arsenal for the title. City aren't going to be there.
Anybody that said that,
Arsenal fans were saying that. Again, that I agree. You can't write City off.
How do you write them off when they were, even until last week, with 5 games without winning, whatever you want to call them, they were still like 4 points behind or 5 points. Like
I would.
There was never a point where they were like 10 points behind.
I would be more worried about the whole, relying on De Bruyne situation if, like Liverpool, Arsenal, etc., were performing really well this season and being brilliant, but. And I know I keep going on about it, but the fact that City have just had their worst period under Guardiola, 1 win in 6, but we are 2 points off top spot. So the fact that no one else really wants to win this title, no one wants to run away with it, no one seems capable of running away with it. That's why I'm still even though again that run of form. If that happens in I know it's an extreme example. If that happens in the 1920 season, it's done. The league's over. Liverpool have won it, and it's a boring season because Liverpool have already won it. But the fact it hasn't happened, as I say, gives me hope that De Bruyne doesn't obviously De Bruyne will come back, and we will be better with De Bruyne than without. But I don't think that De Bruyne has to, hit the heights of, the end of last season, or the 2020 season, or whatever. He just needs to be able. He just needs to be good. He doesn't have to be, the De Bruyne.
How many
of
points do you
last
think it
season or
takes to win
whatever.
this league? How many points do you think the team that wins the league is going to get?
Probably like mid high 80s are the absolute most. Probably more like mid 80s, around what 84, 85 ish. Would you say? And that's my thing. City currently have 40 points. Is that right? Now I would be, again, something might change. I would be staggered if City have as bad a second half of the season as they have had a first half of the season. Again, this is the worst that we've had under Guardiola. That's my understanding. It could happen, but it's very unlikely that with bar injuries, if you have your best player returning second half of the season, you are probably going to perform better second half of the season relative to the first half of the season. So that's why people saying, City only going to get 80 points this season. That's why I think that's a bit of a red herring. I think we are going to get more than 40 points in the next 19 games. So De Bruyne,
Yeah, look,
De Bruyne's coming back.
I see Man City, and the only thing, look, I think City are the favourites for this title for obvious reasons. The only thing that I look at,
what are the obvious
that
reasons,
opens the door,
please? What are the obvious reasons?
because they've won 4 of the last 5 titles,
History.
and are treble
No.
winners,
So
and
because
have the best goal scorer in the Premier League, and one of
Okay.
the best defences in the Premier League.
But so you don't have the best defense in the league.
I said they have one of the best defences in the Premier
Okay.
League. They
All
have
right.
one of the best defences in
I
the
just
Premier
want to
League.
know why people
Do you
say
have a
that.
better back four? Do Liverpool have a better back four, Tom? So defense obviously includes the goalkeeper. So let's exclude the goalkeeper for a second. Do you think Liverpool have? I don't know what I think. I'd be interested to know. Do Liverpool have the best defense, less the goalkeeper? Because obviously, as we've discussed, Alisson's a massive part of your overall defense, which is perfectly fine. So
I'll
that's
take
my
whoever you have at left
question.
back, because we haven't got one at the minute.
You big
But
Yoshko.
I'll take Guardiola to play that role. I think our centre back pairing of Van Dijk and Canate is, for me, the best centre back pairing in the league in terms of chemistry and how they fit together and the quality they've got. But that, again, City have the second best. I just think the lack of John Stones' availability this season has put a bit of a stress and a strain on the City defence. Right back wise, I'll go Walker most years, but this year Trent's been very good defensively, while still maintaining that attacking output. Whilst even you said it yourself, Kyle Walker, he's not offering you anything in attack and he's sleeping on defence. So you could argue that this season Liverpool's defence is better.
That's
but
fine.
If you want to give City another centre back in there, and it's the Canate, I can understand that point. They're both very good defences. It's just I think the R1 has just performed more consistently this year. I think that's been the story of everyone's season, hasn't it? No one's hit the heights that they expect to hit. City's got closest to with some good performances, but it's been injury problems and suspensions that have constantly stop-started you. We've been the most consistent. We've just continued to draw stupid games. We've actually only lost one. Arsenal, again, when the going gets tough, I just think that squad doesn't really have the fight to go in most games. The big thing for City is, should Rodri, and again, it happened in the Club World Cup final when he went down with an injury. Should Rodri go down with an injury or miss an extended period of time for whatever reason, are Man City going to get over their hump of winning games without Rodri? Because is it now you've done 4 this year without him and you've won none of them?
Yeah,
Or is it
exactly.
5 this year? 4 or 5, and they've lost all of them. I think it's the more telling factor.
2 in the league,
Are they going to
1
be
in
able to
the
get over
cup.
that?
That's what happened. Sorry.
So
3 in the league, 1 in the cup.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was Wolves, Arsenal, and Villa, and Newcastle.
Yes.
So they're the ones that Rodri was missing for. Should City show they can get over that hump, then I can't look. Yeah,
You
when
lost to Arsenal
they
without
won
Rodri.
1-0.
1-0, no Rodri.
Yeah.
So like that's the one thing that I look at with that City side and go, there's your weakness. We've at least shown at points this year that should we lose Van Dijk for 3 games, we can get through it. Should we lose Alisson for 3 games, we can get through it. It's not pretty at all, but we can get through losing some big plays for a couple of games in a row.
Yeah.
That's going to be the telling thing for City, and you'll back your team to get over it. I just wonder how Pep's going to find that solution.
Yeah, you can only speculate on injuries because like
Yes.
that's not predictable. So the thing for me, which is maybe like the most important thing of whether City will win the title or not, is how will Guardiola utilize the players that are coming back when Haaland gets back to full fitness and De Bruyne comes back to full fitness. Does that mean that Alvarez will hit the bench for most games, which is what I think is the correct decision, or will he go, now I've got De Bruyne and Haaland and Alvarez, I'm going to try to find a way to play all of them at the same time, which I think
You're
would
going
be
to
a
end up
massive...
you just believe Rodri to die alone in the middle of the pitch.
which I think would be a massive error, in my opinion. So, and it's
Why do you think he's so obsessed with playing Alvarez at the minute? Obviously, he's playing now because of the injury to Haaland and his up fronts. But even like when Haaland was fit in the middle of the season, I know there wasn't a KDB, but even when you had like Nunes or Kovacic on the bench, or even like Rico Lewis, there was an insistence on playing Alvarez in midfield.
Yeah.
So I just wonder what the reason behind that is. Is it like, does he want to leave and Pep's just trying to appease him, or does he think it's a genuine sort of thing?
I mean, it can't be that because he signed an extension last year, so it can't be. It can't be that. You don't need to play him this much when there's this much quality. I mean, I've discussed it before. I don't actually know why he played so frequently. My best bet might be he's trying to replicate De Bruyne's ball striking and goal contributions, because he's obviously a very good ball striker and very good at scoring goals because he's a striker. But as we know, that leads to loads of other issues. So yeah, if all these players come back and they're all available and Pep decides to make a mistake, in my opinion, then I don't know if we will win the title. But if he makes what I think would be the correct decision and, bench Alvarez for the most part and play him as natural striker, and rotate with Haaland and either keep Foden in the midfield alongside De Bruyne, because he now seems to have a lot of trust in Foden in the middle, or utilize Foden in a better way out wide, maybe on the right, because now De Bruyne will be at right central midfield. You can actually get more out of him. Then City, that will give City the best chance to win the title. That's, for me, that's probably the biggest question mark. It's not the fact of the players coming back. It's the fact of how will you be utilizing those players and will you be using them properly? Will you play your best players in their best positions? Which, as we've seen, I'm going to use Foden as the example because I think he's been our best player this season. You play Foden in his best position, City win, basically.
Yeah, that's I saw the graph you put out. Like, if Foden has 70 touches, Man City win, he gets man of the match. If he has 60 touches, Man City normally win. And if he has 50 or less, Man City lose.
Exactly.
Like, it's a mental sort of thing. Now, last thing, because obviously I'm sure Mo wants to wrap this up. I just want to go back to something you said earlier about how you think.
No, I'm all right. I'm off
second.
today. I'm off today.
Oh, you're off today. You said Arsenal are going to finish second. What do you think they have over Liverpool right now?
For me, again, I'm totally willing to be proven wrong with this. It's partly my own stubbornness because I said before a ball was kicked that I thought Arsenal would finish ahead of Liverpool. So there is that coming into play. I do like to try to be consistent, even if it's to my own detriment. But it does come back to that thing I was saying earlier of I do still think there are midfield... Obviously, there are some similar situations to Arsenal. I do still think there are midfield dynamic issues at Liverpool, which stem from not having a Fabinho-like player, a Rodri-like player, etc. I'm totally willing to be proven wrong on that. Like, I don't mind. But in my head, that is why I'm able to justify...
I hear the dynamics point. I do hear the
will...
dynamics point because we do have those issues. I think you hit the nail on the head because I think Szoboszlai and Gravenberch have a dynamic issue. I don't think they can play well together because they're too similar. I think it can work with a DM like a McAllister there for a couple of games, but you do, honestly speaking, and I know that people don't like this, Curtis Jones is one of our most important midfielders because he just balances it out. He doesn't do anything flashy. He doesn't do anything, outlandishly good, but he balances everything out, and it's what you need. I mean, you've probably had these players in the past, and someone who just put in doesn't exactly catch the eye, but all the work he does allows other players to flourish. Szoboszlai looks better when Jones is next to him. McAllister and Endo look better when Jones is there. Even whoever's on the left gets a little bit more support. Left back wise is better when obviously Jones is there. He's so important. For us, I just look at the injury situation as well, because I know that City have had injury problems this year, and Arsenal have had injury problems this year. But I think it's went under the radar a little bit just how mad our injury problems have been. Like we've got no fit left back at the minute. Both of them have dislocated the shoulder, which is mental. We've missed Van Dijk for the period of the games. We've missed Alisson for the period of the games. We've missed Canary for the period of the games. We've missed Trent for the period of the games. We've missed McAllister, Jones, Gravenberch, Nunes. No, not Nunes. Jota, Diaz, and Gakpo have all missed games through injury or suspension or whatever. Like that's a big sort of thing in terms of should we get a more fit and consistent 11 for the second half of the season?
Yeah.
I think we're going to be right up there.
I gotta.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Can I say one
No,
last
yeah.
thing on that? Just my whole thought process of Liverpool maybe finishing third. I think Liverpool have been fantastic this first half of the season. I mean, they've been the best side in the league. That's why they're top of the table. I just don't know whether
Pep, shit, there you go. I saw Pep's not the thing. No, we're not the best. Liverpool are top of the table. Look at his mind games. Disgraceful.
I just don't know whether that, again, the sustainability point we've made before, totally willing to be proven wrong. I'm going to be annoying and be that guy. In terms of the underlying numbers and the expected points table, my top three is currently what is the expected points table, which is City top, Arsenal second, Liverpool
again,
third.
I don't like these. I'm old-fashioned. I don't like these sort of. I don't think they factor in certain things like Alisson. I don't think there's a data metric that can factor in Alisson Becker compared to David Raya.
Yeah, obviously there's going to be outliers, but in general, there is a reason why we say expected. In general, these expected tables are correct come the end of the season. Not always, obviously, but that's why I think that over the course of the full season, it will level out. And again, I don't mind if that's wrong. I
think Alisson will have to have some stinkers for it to start leveling out. To be fair, the way he's played, I just think in the same way that the defense has been a level above this year in terms of how good it's been with Van Dijk and Alisson, etc. Our attack has been wank at points. Like it's been really bad. I think I don't know. I released a video the other day of all the big chances Mo Salah's created in the Premier League this year. He tops that metric, 15 big chances created. Do you know we've missed the last 9 he's created? That's mental. Out of big chances this season.
That's criminal.
But I think Liverpool's forwards have had, so Nunes has had 18, Salah's had 17, Jota's had 4, Diaz and Gakpo both had 5 each. Salah has scored 7, missed 10. Nunes has scored 3, missed 15. Diaz has scored 1, missed 4. Gakpo has scored 1, missed 4. And Jota has scored 3, missed 1. We only have one forward who is in the positives in terms of ratio of big chances to big chances missed sort of thing. Like that will balance itself out. Logic will dictate that surely Nunes is not going to end the season with 6 big chances scored and 30 big chances missed. I can only hope. So should that balance out and we end up with something more like a 10 big chances scored and a 20 missed, a lot of things are different.
Yeah.
I just look at us and it is going to be Liverpool Barca. I'm a Liverpool fan.
You haven't factored
we should be unbeaten. We should be unbeaten this season. We've been robbed.
You haven't factored the referees against the Scousers. You've never factored that. You haven't.
You don't want to see the Scousers do well, Mo.
Yes, you haven't seen the world against the Scousers. This is a big factor. Listen, people. Tyler Jones, I appreciate your support. People that support the channels in the super chats, donation for the channels, and like button. I have a dream. Let the likes be 300 for this show. And just to be honest, guys, this is every Monday. It's show Tom and Nobbins every Monday here. All the morning shows for me, afternoon for you, are kind of a chill shows. We talk, and in the evening a little bit of more of match reactions. Of course, today at 11 we'll have a match reaction for the Liverpool Newcastle with a panel. Tyler Jones, this is a good chat. Everyone level L. Thank you, Tyler, for the absolute great super chat. Price is saying Arteta is not that guy. He is the guy before the guy, which is what everybody is saying. Everybody's saying that, Price. Yet people want to wait until Arteta finishes the season. Me and Nobbins believe that he deserves a chance to see if he can progress or not at the end of the season. A lot of people say, sack the manager, sack the guy today.
I just wonder how long are you going to give him? At what point do you come?
I have two things here. If he goes far from the top by about 8 to 10 points, it's or he goes 5th, 6th on the table with a big margin, like 30 games in or 20, 25, 26 games in, and he loses the next like 2-3 games, or he drops points and he's like 10 points behind Liverpool, that's when you that's when you actually have the real talk about sacking him. And at the end of the season, if he finishes
behind Tottenham, he's got to go. I'm sorry.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, that's okay. That's a given. Okay, if he finishes behind Aston Villa, that's a given. He has to go, right? That's if he doesn't finish within a touching distance, and I said that many times. And when I mean by a touching distance, that you lose it in the last game or two. Before that, you have to get sacked, because that's not progression from last year, in my opinion. Toe to toe with City, losing it in the last game on before that, based on context, it's progression from last year. Reaching a quarterfinal or semi-final of the Champions League is a progression, right? But if he gets knocked out of Porto, loses to Liverpool this week in the Cup, right, and finishes 8 to 10 points behind these guys, that's regression. You have to go. Context. It's simple. I don't know why people don't want to put context into it. Anyway, that's my point. Unless he's going to leave and you're going to get Pep Guardiola, Arsenal. And you aren't going to get Pep Guardiola. Or he leaves, and maybe you can get Simeone and pay him £40 million a year, if you can do that. I believe he's not leaving Atletico Madrid under that.
I don't think Arsenal.
It's very hard.
Again, no, I don't. If should Arteta go, Simeone isn't the one to replace him with.
Well, a lot of people think so.
But that's mental, because you've just spent 4 years and 600 million building a squad that's supposed to play a nice attacking style of football. And then you want to bring in a manager who plays workman-like defensive football. It doesn't add up.
Oh, shut up.
I think that's the thing people need to
shut up. Actually, Inzaghi would be all right. He just plays 3 in the back, and that doesn't suit the Premier League winning title. Only Conte did it. But yeah, listen, guys, also for the people that
didn't Man City do it last year with the 3-2-4-1?
They are still doing it. They are doing it, and they're gonna do it if John Stones is back.
So,
but I liked what I saw last game. I like the back four. I liked Gvardiol as a left back. I liked what he did last game. Double pivot, 2 fullbacks flying high, 2 wingers going inside. I liked what I saw. It looked pretty, actually.
So Pep Guardiola's next tactical evolution was to bring it back to basics, bring it back to a more traditional
football, bro. Double pivot, 2 wing backs flying. It looks like, look at the heat map of Kyle Walker and Gvardiol. Very simple football. Classical 2000 wing fullbacks. Classic. Double pivot, Kovacic next to Rodri. And it looks, I'm like, wow, this is 2001. Fantastic. It looks great. And it was very effective. A classic number 10 behind the forward and Phil Foden floating everywhere. It looked great. All they were missing is maybe Doku on that left side, and that's it. Oscar Bob did the job. Looked absolutely great.
Bob is class.
Looked great. Bringing it back to basics, Pep Guardiola. 4-4-2, 2 big strikers. He's going to play Alvarez and Haaland up top. But listen, people, this has been absolutely a fantastic show. Great show. Over 400 people were tuning in at some point. Absolutely great. Shout out to the people that sent a super chat. Andrew, Tyler Jones, of course, and Price sent a super chat. Thank you so much for everybody that is watching us. The notification bell is key, people. The notification bell is absolutely key for you to know when we go live. Of course, tomorrow in the afternoon, I have Percy and Jerry James. That will be spicy, actually. And thank you, everybody that tuned in. Appreciate you guys. Tom Nobbins, in the description. 2 channels in the description because people asked in the chat. Simple. Go subscribe to these guys. Great videos from Nobbins, analysis, and great live shows with a lot of rants from Tom, but also a lot of calm and composed talk. Thank you, everybody that watched us. Happy New Year to you, and happy New Year to everybody that supported us, or everybody even that didn't support us but still like us. Thank you, people, and we'll see you guys soon. And we're out.
I like how